Om Shanti. Good evening and very warm welcome to all of you. Thanks for taking out your precious time on the weekend. So, highly appreciate it. So, next, moving on to the topic for today, the Sunday evening talk. How many of you know what's the topic for today? Just the change? Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, adapting to the change. I think very much needed in today's world, right? Both personally and professionally. Change is inevitable and we need to adapt it. So, our speaker for today, Brother Rishidhar. So, he's based out of Hyderabad and he's been an ardent follower of Brahma Kumari's past 2.5 decades. He's been practicing Raj Yoga meditation. And on the professional front, he's working currently as a venture capitalist for one of the MNCs. And last 10 years, he's been working with a lot of Fortune 500 companies like GE, Dell, Vodafone, etc. So we'll get his insights on how do we adapt to change. For sure, he knows best in terms of both spiritually and professionally as well, right? So we welcome with a loud applause to Brother Rishidhar on the dais.
Good evening to all of you. So, thank you so much for taking time to know more about adapting for change. So, in today's world, what is the definition of change? Sorry? Technology. Okay. Any other answers? Situation also changes. Okay. And
Life is very fast paced, so it changes very frequently or constantly.
okay. And anything apart from general routine is change. Or if I have to rephrase it, anything out of our comfort zone is change. Right. Any other perspective? Sorry? Transformation is change. Okay. That's a synonym for change. Sorry? Modernize. Okay. That's change. Breaking the status quo. Okay. All complex words, brothers, they go above my head. I'm a very simple person. Okay. And change is the only constant in today's world. Okay. There's a reason why I keep drilling what more, because I'm looking for one answer. Sorry?
It needs no permission to come.
It needs no permission to come. Fantastic. And change is inevitable. Very good. Evolution. Okay. The one most important. It's there all the time. I still didn't get the answer. Changes within. Okay. That's the answer that I was looking for. Yes, absolutely true. Now, the answer that I was rather looking for is, and this is what we speak, or Brahmakumari is a way of life, right? So that is what we basically teach and preach here, that change is always inside out. Now, everybody who's answered only spoke about the external stimuli, but they never spoke about the self, which is me. And the problem here is the external stimuli, or the external, call it situations, call it relationships, call it whatever you want, relationships. Unfortunately, they are not in our control. The change is not in our control. If it starts raining now, is it in our control? If someone from the crowd gets up and says, hey, you're a bad speaker, is that in my control? It's not in my control. And the problem these days especially, or let's say for the past 2 decades, has always been, we are always looking out. When people talk about change, when people talk about changing, they always say, he has to change, she has to change, the situation has to change. I will remain a constant. How fair is that? How fair is that? And because we have this perspective that The other person is at fault, the other person has to change, or the weather has to change, or whoever or whatever has to change, the person at the office has to change, and I will remain constant, is the root for all the problems that we are all facing in today's world. Plain and simple. So, what's the cause? What's the cause for pain? Sorry? Thank you. Yes. Realization that I am not properly adapting to change. Simple. हो गया खत्म. You got the answer. You have to change. Now, let's go a little deeper, right? Now, when you talk about change, there are different questions that come in our mind. First is why change? Why should I change? Why? For betterment of self. Okay.
We can
Why?
only control ourselves, nothing else.
Really? Okay. Make a team leader. What does that mean?
In the team, the receiving and sending messages will be understanding.
Okay. What else? Why change?
To become balanced.
Okay. Okay. Now, if all of us basically realize that why we have to change. Now, let's take a very simple habit, right? Let's say there is a person A and he has the habit of smoking. He wants to stop smoking. Does he have the reason of why he wants to basically stop smoking? He has, or no, he doesn't have. If he seriously thinks that, he has to stop smoking, does he have a proper reason? Yes or no? Yes, he knows that it's not good for his health. He knows that with passive smoking, he's basically harming the other people's life. Probably he's also getting addicted to smoking. It's a big dent in the pocket because cigarettes cost a lot of yada yada. There are a lot of reasons why he has. Now, is that enough for changing? Just the reasons of why he has to change the habit of smoking and be a non-smoker or get to that of being a non-smoker, is that information itself enough? No? Just the why is not enough? Okay. What?
Tension.
Okay. What is missing? Okay. Sorry? Okay. I'd probably rephrase willpower as intent, want, need. Yes, aligning with yourself. But that again falls to why. Because you're aligning as to why is it that you basically want to change. Right? But the intent of why you want to change, the need or the want for why you have to change, where does it come from? Inside? From where? Self, yes, of course, self. But where from inside? Kidney, heart, stomach, mind. Okay. Soul. Okay. How many of you have taken the 7-day course here? Can you please raise your hand? Okay. Okay. You don't mind if I rebrush it very quickly, no? Not the 7-day course, but just bits and parts of it, because there are a lot of people who haven't attended the 7-day course. Right. So the intent, the need, the want is the most important thing. Right. So now we have two solutions for the change. That is why we want to change and the need or the want behind why we want to change. Now, how we want to change? Is that simple? How? How will a person stop smoking? Okay. What decision? And where does that decision come from? Okay. Why change? Want change? How change? Three most important factors. So a lot of people think if the why is answered, the want and the how follow automatically, which is wrong. Which is wrong. Because the why definitely needs to be addressed. The want or the need also definitely needs to be addressed. The how happens automatically because you definitely have that intent, and you also know why is it that you want to change. The how, it basically happens. Now, how are habits formed?
By doing an action repeatedly.
Okay, so that is probably a very gross explanation, which is absolutely right. There's nothing wrong about it. But how are habits formed? Observing, observing others,
Copy to others.
copy others. Okay. Any other answers?
Practice. Daily practice.
Daily practice. So, okay, I'll come to that. Which is correct. Daily practice is correct. And any other answers? Friends. Sankaran. Okay. Influence also. That's how habits are formed. Okay. And
Desire. Desire.
desire.
To smoke.
Smoke. Wow, that's a desire, eh? Okay. Sorry? Imbalanced mind. Is there a difference between mind and brain? Yes. What? Hardware and software. Huh? I am finance person. I don't understand that. What is hardware? What is software in the body?
Mind is a software.
Where is the mind?
In the head.
Software also is installed somewhere, no?
In the head.
Yes or no?
In the head.
Where in the head? I am asking you where is the software installed? You are saying in the CPU. Where in the CPU? Do we know that? Do we know that? Now, for people who haven't taken the 7-day course, I'll just do a quick refresher. And if you're really eager to know more, then you'll have to take the 7-day course. So, when I say that my hand is aching, it's as an example, do I say my hand is aching or do I say I, the hand, am aching? My hand is aching. Okay. If I have a headache, do I say my head is aching or do I say I, the head, am aching?
My head is aching.
Sure. Which means that subconsciously and very naturally, we are speaking out that I am different from my body. Yes? If I were the body, I would say I, the head, am aching, I, the hand, am aching, I, the toenail is aching, or whatever, I, the tooth is aching. But you never say that, right? You say, my body is aching, my back is aching. Which means that we somehow subconsciously know that me and the body are two different entities, but we got confused. Now, what is my entity? Let's say that we are an energy, right? Like they say, energy can neither be destroyed nor created. We are energy, we've always existed. Now, when I, the energy, leave this body and go, it's said that I am dead. But technically, I am not dead. I am there, but I leave this body and go. In the worldly terms, they say that I am dead. Now, I, the energy, have different functions. Now, I'm coming back to how a habit is formed. I, the energy, have different functions. Now, for this energy to basically stay in the body and then operate this body, there are three most important functions. The first function is the mind, right? The second function is the intellect. And the third function is called the sanskaras or habits or traits, right? Now, let's say there's this person who's habituated to smoking. Now let's roll back the reel and then probably go to the first time when his friend is offering him a cigarette. Right? First time. He has never smoked a cigarette in his life till date. So there's person B who's his friend who's offering a cigarette to person A. He mentions the different merits of cigarette. Arey, sar dard chala jata, and it's a stamina stick, and people have different names for a cigarette. So he motivates him enough, and then his mind basically takes two thoughts. This is the birth of a habit. When the first time someone has basically offered you a cigarette, you never readily say, come on, give it. There are always two thoughts. Should I smoke or shouldn't I smoke? When these two thoughts, let's say that there are two lawyers, right? Each one is basically appealing their case. Whom do they appeal the case to? They appeal the case to the intellect, which is the buddhi in Hindi or Telugu. Right? So these two lawyers go and ask the judge. The buddhi is the judge. It discriminates. They ask, should I go and smoke or shouldn't I smoke? The buddhi basically decides that no, smoking is a bad habit. You should not smoke. Right? Which is the truth. But unfortunately, has truth always won? No. Because let's say that the negative lawyer basically produces a lot of unwanted proofs that smoking is very, very good. Temporarily, it brings a lot of benefit. And let's say the most impactful statement that he makes is it's a style statement, because young people know style. I'll smoke and puff upar chodunga. People have different things. So the judge basically says no, but the lawyer who's there, who has the negative influence, he influences the judge. So the judge gives the verdict, okay, go ahead. The judge is forced in this case. So he smokes for the first time. And there's a feel good factor. Next time he goes, again, the judges basically come into picture. Now this negative judge will, the lawyers, the negative lawyer will go and say, you smoked the last time. No. What happened? Did anything happen? Nothing happened. It's good, no? What's your problem? Smoke again. Enjoy it. So what happens is, third time, fourth time, fifth time, sixth time, the two lawyers basically plead the case, but also remember that at the back what is happening is the negative lawyer is becoming stronger and stronger and stronger. Eighth or ninth time, the lawyers disappear, the judge disappears, and what happens is, all this is recorded in the sanskaras. You're smoking the first time, the smoking the second time, all the actions that you do, they're recorded in the sanskaras. That is the mind basically generates thoughts, good, bad, neutral, waste, whatever thoughts. The intellect says, I am the judge, this is good, this is bad. And irrespective of the action you do, whether it's good or whether it's bad, the sanskaras basically record everything. Now, 8 times you've basically smoked a cigarette with the two lawyers arguing to the judge whether it's good or bad. But finally what happens is, the sanskara says, to hell with the mind, to hell with the lawyer, to hell with the judge. Make it a habit. So the next time a thought will arise, I have to smoke a cigarette. It's a habit. Now everything is automated. We talk about automation of processes, no, in the corporate world. In the mind, it's automated now. Smoking a cigarette is automated. 8 times, 10 times, 12 times you do that act, it becomes automated now. Now what happens is, as soon as you see a pan ka dabba or a place where you can buy a cigarette, you stop automatically, you take a pack of cigarette, start smoking. Slowly and steadily, you become addicted to it. This is how a habit is formed, and this is how a habit becomes strong. Now you want to change this habit. What do you have to do?
Recognition. Self-recognition.
Sorry? Positive lawyer is dead. Both lawyers are dead now. They are dead.
Them's also dead.
Everything is dead. Everything is dead. Now the lawyers have disappeared now. How do we basically take this thought? Or how do we basically get to the action of making it a habit of becoming a non-smoker again? How do we do that?
Rehabilitation course करना पड़ता है उसको.
रिहैबिलिटेशन कोर्स करना पड़ता है उसको. उतना पैसा खर्च करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है.
हम भी पिए चांसलर एक जमाने में.
हम भी पिए दिन में 3 डब्बी. इसलिए बात कर रहा हूँ मैं अपने एक्सपीरियंस से.
thought determination.
First thing is why. Second thing is the want or the need. So my why was I started coming to the Brahma Kumaris. So I have to create a good impression. Very bekar why, but still it's a why. It's a bekar why, it's a very weak why. But even with a weak why, my want was very, very, very powerful. क्यों पता है? I took it on my ego. And that's how my want was very powerful. Ki, I am not a slave of cigarette. Why the hell can't I stop smoking? Of course I can. And that was the breaking point of that habit for me. So some people say you can use nicotine chewing gums, and some people say from smoking a pack you come down to 5 a day, and then to 2 a day, and then dheere dheere. For me, all those things really didn't matter. All what I did was take a thought, and I said, that's it. I have to start meditating. So it's not good for the process of meditating, and it doesn't look when I go to the course and I'm stinking of cigarette. So my why was sorted, my need also was sorted, and the how was very easy. So for the breaking of a habit, no, this is very, very important. Now, I didn't understand all this. What are the mechanics that basically happen in me? Who is the energy? The mind will act, the intellect will act, and the lawyers were there and they were arguing the case. And I wasn't all that fortunate. And again, the reason behind want is very negative, in my case. Ego is a very, very bad thing. Like I told you, I was very inexperienced then. I was 19 years old. What do you expect? I was 19 when I took this meditation. It was about 24 years. So there was nobody to explain. Everything was, theek hai, hit and miss, or, hit and success, or whatever you call it. So that's how a habit is basically formed, and that is how we have to basically change a habit. Now, this is something that I'll have to deal with myself. But what if there's a problem in a situation? What if there's a problem in the office? What if there's a problem in the external world? How am I going to basically deal with that external stimuli? Because this is probably very easy if I compare to that. Let's say you've made one person your nemesis, your enemy. And if I say change yourself and go talk to the person, what is going to happen? What is going to happen? Will you be successful? Is it very easy? Yes or no? No. Why? Huh? Yes. Yes. But what is the biggest problem here, and what is it that we don't realize that is happening underneath?
Addiction.
By not talking to the other person, I am hurting him, yes, but I'm also hurting myself. And a lot of people only on the ego ride, they basically think that I'm hurting the other person only, but which is not true. It is not true. Ego is such a miraculously stupid trait that humans have. I have this very funny story. I keep, sharing it in all my lectures, that there's this village 1 and village 2, right? So they were separated by a river, and the only way that a person can basically come from village 1 to village 2 was a boat. So somehow the important mukhias of village 1 and village 2, they somehow garnered the funds and then they built a bridge, right? So the bridge was built in such a way that only one vehicle could basically pass at one given point of time, right? So at one fine point, what happened was there was one car that was coming from village 1 and one car was coming from village 2, and they both met at the center of the bridge. Obviously, one had to go back. There's no other choice. One had to go back because there was only one car that could fit on that bridge. Center point. Now there was a lot of argument that happened. Tu piche ja, to tu piche da. I am not going back. I came first. Different illogical statements were made because both of them were very high on their ego. They were riding this ego horse. And then one person was going back. So the other person was basically having a triumphant feeling that yes, he's going back. So he's going to go back now. But that person goes and sits in the car and he doesn't move. This fellow is very disturbed. The other person who's outside, who sees this other person going and sitting in the car, is very disturbed. So he also goes and sits in the car, and in frustration he looks around and then he finds a newspaper. He opens the newspaper and starts reading the newspaper. The newspaper is ulta. He's not reading the newspaper. He wants to pass on a message that, boss, if you can go and sit in the car and if you think that you have a lot of time, I have more time than you. I'm going to sit in this car and also read a newspaper. I'm not going to bend down, plain and simple. In all this time, probably he could have gone back. Either of them could have basically gone back and also reached their destination also, but no, they want to waste time. Ego. So this fellow's, paper is ulta, and then he's peeping from the newspaper, looking at the other person. What is his reaction? The other person also, he starts getting frustrated, and then he starts walking towards this person who's reading the newspaper, who's sitting in the other car. And then he says, yes, he's going to bend down now. He knocks the window. This fellow basically, opens the window, and then the other person says, when you're done reading the newspaper, now give it to me. Is there any end to this nonsense? Is it the solution? So ego is a very funny thing. It is a very, very, very funny, like I told you, it's a trait which is extremely, it destroys situations and people. So, like I told you, what we basically don't realize is that I am hurting myself in the process of thinking that the other person has changed and I'm not going to talk to him or her. Could be any relationship. Office, ghar mein, with parents, with wife, with subordinates at office, with strangers, whoever it is, it doesn't matter. With maids. Especially I see mothers have a lot of issues with maids who are there. So, why is it that you'll basically have to change? Let's establish the why first. We have to adapt to change, no. We know that it's a bad thing. Not speaking to the other person is a bad thing. You probably also have a lot of love for the other person. Maybe. If you and, for example, you and your wife, there's a person A, person B, one is a male, one is a female, both of them are married, some issue happened, both are not talking to each other. Does that mean that there's no love between A and B? What is stopping you from basically, what is stopping you, not the other person? What is stopping you? Because you're hurting yourself, you're also hurting the other person. And it is very unfortunate that the other person also doesn't realize that he or she is hurting herself and also hurting you. It happens in both the cases. I'm not saying that कोई दूध का धुला हुआ है यहाँ पे. No. बोलते हैं ना ताली है तो दोनों हाथ है. Both parties are involved. But my point that I'm trying to drive over here is that though there are two parties involved, you can't change the other party, no. There's only one person that whom you can change. Who's that person? But am I changing myself in that situation? Am I really bending down and saying that, ठीक है, it's fine. She is my wife only, no. I'll go and say sorry. Achha, that's one aspect. Second aspect, it's her fault. She has to basically apologize to me. That's another big issue. And maybe truly it could be the husband's fault 100% or the wife's fault 100%. Doesn't matter. But even though the person who's 100% right, if he or she feels that this relationship is important and not my ego with the other person, then automatically वो झुक के जाके sorry बोलेगा. If there's a feeling that the relationship is important than the ego. Or if you're riding on the horse that no, my ego is only important, वही आके झुकेगी या वही आके झुकेगा. The problem that can be sorted in a second, you're prolonging it for a week or a month or a year or I don't know what. I have this very beautiful real life example. I am not married, but all my friends who are married come to me for problem solving. Right? So there's this one of my friends who has his apartment bang on the main street. Right? And then every Sunday, there are these hawkers who basically keep shouting because there's a flea market kind of a thing, and sabzi le lo, kanda le lo, banana le lo, whatever, they keep shouting every Sunday. This goes on from probably 8 in the morning to like 3 in the afternoon or 4 in the afternoon until they complete their stocks. So it so happened one Sunday that this fellow was sleeping. He had a late night call or whatever, and then he was sleeping, and his wife was talking to his mother in the kitchen. His house is decently big, should be about 2500, 2700 square feet. And his bedroom is in one corner because I keep going to his house. The kitchen is in one corner, right? He goes and he wakes up. He goes and shouts at his wife as to why is it that you're speaking so loudly over the telephone with your mother? And the wife found it very strange. Next second, she hangs up. She's extremely frustrated and then she calls me. Rishi, what is wrong with this fellow? I said, what happened? The hawkers are shouting at the top of their voice from 8 in the morning. It's 9:30. They are not disturbing him. The bedroom is right on the main road. I am speaking to my mother peacefully in the kitchen. This fellow comes and says that I am disturbing him. Do you find any logic in that? Do you find any logic in that? I found it ridiculous. I said, ये मामला phone पे नहीं होगा, मुझे जाना पड़ेगा. So I went, not that day, but the next day. I said, dude, what's wrong with you? He says, what happened? The hawkers who are shouting on the street from 8 in the morning didn't disturb you. But your wife talking over the phone with her mother in another corner of the house is disturbing you. How do you want to justify that? He's saying, వాళ్ళని ఏం కంట్రోల్ చేస్తాం రా उनको कैसा कंट्रोल करेंगे ఇది పెళ్ళాం కదా ये मेरे बीवी है ना. That's his explanation. Mana, you've taken that relationship for granted. कि ठीक है, if I shout at her, అది పడి ఉంటుంది అక్కడ. That is his attitude. She'll be lying in one corner. Even I can shout at her, he doesn't abuse her, thankfully, but very irritated character he is. Only with some people, that also I've seen. In the office, he's like, yes, boss, definitely boss. Chela hai boss ka. But at home, he becomes a tiger. Why? Huh?
खिड़की लगा दिए तो आवाज ही नहीं आता।
आप साउंड प्रूफ भी करें ना, फिर भी कानों में गूंजता आवाज।
हमारे पास तो नहीं आता, हम खिड़की लगा दिए तो आवाज ही नहीं
आपके घर अच्छा होगा, अब आपके घर की बात नहीं हो रही है ना भाई साहब यहाँ पे, राइट? सो never take any relationship for granted. Never ever do that. And I told him, boss, you can't take this relationship for granted, because one fine day, the volcano within her that she's suppressing her feelings is going to erupt. And if she says, मैं मायके जा रही हूँ, तू तेरा जिंदगी जी ले, even for a week, तेरे को खाना देने वाला कोई नहीं होगा. Your life is going to become hell. And for some reason, he doesn't like eating outside. तो पकाने वाली तो वही है. So I said, imagine what kind of a predicament would you be in. So don't do that. Don't take your relationship for granted. Maybe you feel superior as a husband. I don't know, whatever your feeling is. But please have mutual respect. Change. Adapt. He's trying. He's trying. I don't know if he's genuinely trying or if he's just trying, but he's trying. That's what he says. Because I asked his wife after probably 2 or 3 months, she said, थोड़ा कम हुआ है पर वैसा ही है. It's not easy, no? If you want to break a habit, unless you have a very, very strong underlying feeling that, you have to change, it's not possible. And I feel that, he has not resolved this matter within himself, and that's the biggest problem. And I feel that he still takes that relationship for granted. Same with his mother. He doesn't have a father, but same with his mother. He shouts at her at his will and wish. So, don't take any relationship for granted, because everybody has their breaking point, their boiling point. And, if you push them towards that breaking point or boiling point, then things really become difficult. Because you are the person who's basically spoiling the relationship. And it is very unfortunate. You are waiting for the other person to basically come and apologize. That's the worst thing. I'm sure his nature is such that tomorrow if his wife goes to her mom's place, he'll say, wo gayi na, wohi aayegi. That's the attitude of people these days. They don't want to bend. But again, does that mean that there's love absent between him and his wife? No, it's not. And does that mean that he's a villain? No, he's a gem of a guy. He's a gem of a guy. Trust me when I say that. He has a lot of amazing qualities. But exactly, it's like, there's 100 kgs of kheer, and then there's this probably 2 drops of poison in that kheer. So what happens? We say that the kheer is poison, no? Unfortunately, when you say that this person is a gem, and then he has this personality trait which is not good, he becomes poison. I told his wife also, don't look at him in that way. Because obviously, it's not her fault. She reacts. She reacts in a very negative way. If he shouts, probably she also shouts. I don't know what happens, but that's my guess. I'm sure that's the case. I asked her, could you basically go ahead and make the change of not reacting when he basically comes and shouts at you? So मैं try करूँगी, पर मैं क्यों करूँ? Sad truth, but it is a reality. That, people don't want to change, though they know the solution, though they know they know the destination, they know the route to that particular destination, they know the starting point, they know that they have a vehicle, they know that they are the owner of the vehicle, they know that they can drive, they know that they are in control, they know everything, but they don't change.
Self-esteem.
Yeah. It's a very thin line. When you talk about self-esteem, it's a very, very, very thin line that you're walking on. Because one wrong step to the right becomes ego, one wrong step to the left becomes depression. So self esteem is a very, very thin line that you're walking on. You should have it 100%. But in this particular example that I've given, if this guy says that I'm not going to bend down, I have self esteem, that is wrong. Same, if the wife basically says that I am not going to respond, but I'm going to react because I have my self esteem, that's wrong. So a lot of people basically mix self esteem with ego because they don't want to bend down. Unfortunate, but that's the way we've been basically living our lives. So solution is in our hand, change is in our hand. I have to change, but it is very unfortunate that I'm not basically taking that route. I'm not bending because I think that my ego is important, or in brother's language, my self-esteem is important. It's not self-esteem, it is ego. Right? Yes, absolutely correct, brother. It is, see, that's exactly what I'm trying to tell you. We know what the problem is, but yet we don't want to bend down. That's the cause of why is it that we are not exactly being able to adapt to change. So where do we start this process? We have this very beautiful there's this sudden inspections that happen in different processes in different companies. We here at Brahma Kumaris believe in sudden inspection of the mind. कि क्या कचरा चल रहा है. How do you do that? Let's say you're angry. Is being angry good or bad? Sure. My managing partner says, controlled anger अच्छा है. I tell, please shut up. Don't say that. ये ऐसा बोल रहे हैं कि वो खीर है और बोल रहे हैं एक दो बूंद तो ठीक है, खीर 2-3 दिन तक रहेगा, खराब नहीं होगा. A lot of milk vendors basically do that. People who basically get milk from the outskirts of the city, they can't basically come and deliver milk in the night, no, if they're, let's say, 60-70 kilometers. So what they do is they put these 2 drops of poison. Science gives it different names, that's a different thing, but it is poison nevertheless, because the shelf life of milk is only 4 hours. Now if it's staying till morning, obviously you're changing its properties, no. And I have seen that when you put that drop, the milk basically starts burning. I mean, there's these fumes that come out. So it's like you're basically saying that there's this whole kheer for longevity, let me add 2 drops of poison. It doesn't make sense. So I was talking about these inspections. So how we inspect ourselves is that there's this thing called as traffic control. I found that I laughed away to glory when I heard this for the first time, because when I was taking my course, there's this sudden song that they was played and everybody froze wherever they were, and then they started meditating. I said, what is happening? I'm just not able to understand anything. And then I asked sister, why is everybody freezing and why is nobody talking? They've left all their work and why is this happening? She said that traffic control. I said, I really love, what traffic control are you talking about? Second day or third day, I don't remember. So she said, your mind is like a highway and there's a lot of traffic. What kind of traffic? Traffic of thoughts, right? So in order for you to basically understand what is it that is going on in your mind, you have to be very, very self-aware. If you want to break a habit, what kind of thoughts are running in your mind is very, very, very important. You might take the thought that, yes, let's say you're at office, okay? And let's say you're married and you have a problem with your wife. At your office, you basically take the thought that the relationship is you've established that the relationship with your wife is important. Irrespective of whose ever mistake it is, I'm going to go and apologize to her, right? Let's say you took this thought at 5 o'clock, right? 5:30, your office ends. Probably a 30-minute ride, you're home, and by 6, you're home. 1 hour only, no? 5:30, you start going home in your car. One fellow comes and bangs you from behind. No fault of yours. No fault of yours. What happens is, instead of going and apologizing on that particular day, wherein it was such a good thought just 1 hour back, you'll go and shout at her. So, what's happening here? The why is probably established, but the want or the need is not there. Why? Because it's lost in your daily life. Why? Because there's no check on the thoughts at that particular point of time. Why? Because you're just flowing with all those thoughts. How could he do that? That fellow doesn't even have the courtesy of apologizing. It's his fault. He comes and hits me. He comes and bangs me. And on top of that, he's saying, why is it that you've been driving like that? होते हैं लोग ऐसा. So what you do? Instead of apologizing, you go and shout again. Why? Habit. What's the habit? What's the habit here? You're flowing with that negativity in your mind. What is the negativity here? Thinking about the other person who's basically banged your car from behind. That situation is past. That person has also gone. You're home, different person. But your mood is being carried. What happens? You go all guns blazing at your wife instead of apologizing. So we have this traffic control, which is, I really love the concept, because a lot of us basically put alarms, and nowadays we have apps as well. So what it does is, every 1 hour, for 60 seconds, it starts playing the music. The mobile starts playing the music. So what we do is, whatever we are doing, we leave everything and then we check what's happening. There's a sudden check of the mind. What's happening inside? What's happening inside? Because if you're not aware of what's happening inside, then the adapting to changing your lifestyle is not going to happen. Is whatever I'm saying very heavy? Is it? Or it seems practical? Because I don't know, I get these vibes that, some of you are feeling that it's very heavy, but I have no choice. If I have to call a spade, this is what it is. If you want me to crack jokes and make the class very light, I can do that in the next half an hour. I can do that also. But since you've taken your valuable time and, you could have gone or done different things on this weekend, some amount of download of information is very, very important, so that, even if one person goes and practices this, I think I'll feel very happy. And again, this, when I say goes and practices this at home, this is not an event कि ठीक है मैं birthday party कर दिया और खत्म हो गया. No, this is a constant process. How many of you are aware that a certain situation can trigger your anger, or you naturally be angry at some things? Naturally. How many of you?
At the time not getting anything, then anger.
Yes, some situation you do automatically feel, the anger basically coming out. No. Why does that happen? Why does that happen? Sorry? Not meeting whose expectations? Okay. That's why you become angry at yourself or the other person? With the situation. You're playing it diplomatically. No, not with me, not with the other person, but with the situation. Fantastic. But is it good to be angry with the situation also? Is it? Now you're not angry with yourself. You're not angry with the other person. You're angry with the situation. Is it good? No, that's okay. But please answer my question, sister. Is that good? Why? 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 No, why? No, why? No, why? The origination of anger is from you. That is why it is not good. How can you miss such a basic thing? How can you miss such a basic thing? Where is the anger originating from? తెలుగులో పచ్చిగా మాట్లాడాలంటే వేర్ ఇస్ ద బుడద ఎక్కడ ఉంది? कीचड़ किधर है? एंगर तो कीचड़ है ना, तो कीचड़ किधर है? हमारे अंदर है ना. तो show it on a situation, show it on a relationship, show it on a person, show it with yourself. कीचड़ा तो कीचड़ा है ना. You will not go and sleep in that, no? But we are very comfortably sleeping, keeping anger within. Is anger good or bad? Pakka. Why are you angry then? Or is there any person who wants to raise their hand saying that I'm a peaceful being, I've never become angry, nothing basically triggers me?
If not satisfied.
वो ifs and buts नहीं लगाना भाई साहब. Either it's a yes or either it's a no. It's a plain vanilla answer. है कोई who's never been angry in their life till date? Go to forest. There also anger will trigger, sir. Let me tell you that. Even in the forest, if an ant bites him, won't he kill the ant? See, you yourself have basically given the answer. You said that they claim that they don't have anger. Claiming is completely different from what actually is within. So even for a person who lives in mountains or he lives in jungles, if an ant bites him, won't he kill the ant out of anger? So even that is not possible. Why? Because, like I told you, Buddha is within, the Kichad is within. Yes. So I'm sorry to break it to you, brother. What you think is you're controlling anger, but you're not controlling anger. The correct word for that is you're suppressing your anger. You shouldn't suppress your anger. It is very dangerous. You know, it's a big predicament. You will say, brother, you're saying I should not suppress my anger. You're saying that I should not show my anger. क्या करना? ना इधर जाना है ना उधर जाना है. मरूं तो कहाँ मरूं? न्यूट्रल कैसे रहते बहन जी? You can't stay neutral. See, like I told you, you know, there are no two ways about this thing. There is only one way, that you should be peaceful, plain and simple, irrespective of the situation, irrespective of the triggers. And that is where your traffic control comes into picture. That is where the origination of thought comes into picture. I would rather go on a re-engineering process. I told you how a habit is formed, right? Getting angry is a habit, yes. Or I get some very funny answers. Some people say that normally मैं बहुत शांत हूँ, but there's one trigger. I said 100 kgs kheer hai, but there's one drop. It's poison at the end of the day. It's poison. So if that one trigger happens, isn't it spoiling your mood and your day and the other person's mood and the other person's day? Isn't it? So how can you claim that you're a peaceful soul? When you are showing anger, when you do have trigger points, how can you basically claim that? You can't. So, like I said, you'll have to re-engineer everything. The re-engineering process goes like this, of probably stopping yourself immediately when you realize that you've become angry. Now, why am I saying this is, the first step, anger comes out so naturally that we do not even realize that you've basically reacted to that particular person in that particular situation with anger. You don't realize that because it's so natural. So when you realize that, you know, you've basically got angry and you've reacted in a very negative way or with irritation. And by the way, people who get irritated also, they are all what you say, bal bache of anger. Huh? It's not that only if you go and hit a person, it's anger. No. Even if you get irritated, even if you say, kya? Irritation, that is the bal bache of anger. So when I say anger, when you realize that, you've basically reacted in a particular situation by being angry, when you realize that, start the process of re-engineering. Go to your thought process. Why is it that this particular situation triggered that stupid habit or trait of anger with that person? Why? Okay, the person reacted in this way, the person told this is how I perceived it, and this is what happened. So the next time, let's say that there is some ragging that is going on in the college, right? There's person A and person B, C, D, E, F, G. B, C, D, E, F, G are seniors and A is a junior. All these gang are calling him a donkey. It's triggering his irritation. He can't go and hit them. No, there are 20 people. He can't go and hit them, but he's getting irritated. It's triggering that, feeling of anger. Now, he doesn't realize that in that particular situation, he thinks that it is all but natural. They're calling me with a bad name. I don't like it. I don't like being called a donkey. So I'm not going to basically keep quiet. I'm going to do something about it or whatever it is, but he's angry in that particular moment. He does not realize this then and there. But if you want to basically adapt to change, if you want to change really, because what happens is in true life, even if they call you by a name, right? And if you don't react or respond to it because you are in your self-esteem, not ego, not depression, proper self-esteem, with the attitude that it's okay if he calls me a donkey, I'll not become a donkey. I know what my positive traits are. That's completely fine. And if you don't react, they will get disturbed and not you. ये तो कुछ हो ही नहीं रहा है, इसको कुछ भी बुलाऊं तो. They are going to react in that way. So when you basically realize that, you've reacted in a certain situation by being angry, whenever you realize that, start your re-engineering of your thoughts. It is very, very, very important. And that's how you can break this habit. And again, this is not an event. Ek baar kar diya, ho gaya, no. Maybe what happens is you will start the process of re-engineering. In this particular case, maybe once when they call this person a donkey, he will keep quiet. But the second time, again, the anger is triggered. But isn't that a win? The first time you did keep quiet, no? The next time, you'll keep quiet probably if they call you for 2 times. The next time, 3 times. Next time, probably 4 times. Next time, it'll go away. How truthfully are you basically re-engineering this entire process of breaking this is the most important thing, and how consistent you are. Are you constantly working on yourself? Only if you want to be a better person, huh? If you still think that your ego is big, you're very busy at work and yada, yada, yada. Excuses are a million. If for not changing, excuses are a million. I've asked some, our senior Didi who takes the class in the morning keeps telling, she asks a few people, why is it that they don't come to class? The excuse that they give is, I have a dog and I have to take it for walking. I laugh. Maybe it's not a laughing point for that person. But who is important here is the only justification that you'll have to give yourself. Is the process of walking the dog important, or is changing yourself important? For you, that's very good. But unfortunately for the other soul, he or she thinks that, walking the dog is a more important thing. So, there are different priorities. And it is even more unfortunate that a lot of people, they really get motivated when they hear lectures on YouTube or when they attend lectures at Brahmakumaris or other spiritual organizations. They're really motivated. They take a very, very strong thought that, they have to go ahead and start this journey of re-engineering their thought process. But unfortunately, what happens is one failure, two failures, they think, abba ye nahi hone wala hai humse, this is not going to happen with us, and then they just leave it. They just leave it. They say that this is not my cup of tea. I don't think that I'll be able to change. How many of you have basically experienced this? Probably everyone. Maybe some people are not raising their hands. If not everyone, then mostly everyone. Because at some point of time or the other, it could not be only hearing to some lectures or seeing some video or going to a course or anything of that sort. Let's say that you and your mother had a tiff and you felt bad, and then you've thought that I am not going to speak to her like this, I am not going to shout at her. You do try it once or twice, but the third time you're not able to control yourself, and then you said, this is not going to happen, just leave it. Don't give up. Don't give up. Because this automated process of getting angry without you knowing, and it is so natural, you've practiced it a lot. Trust me when I say that. Trust me. For birth after birth after birth, you've been practicing that, and that is why it has become such a strong trait that you don't realize that in this particular situation, this is going to trigger your anger, but you are angry. तो इतना strong practice हमने किया है birth after birth after birth to basically respond or react or trigger this sanskara of being angry. Imagine how much effort you'll basically have to make to basically stop this and only experience peace. Where is peace? Switzerland? In the Alps? Where is peace? Huh?
Neighbor of change.
Sorry?
It's the neighbor of change.
Neighbor of change. Okay, where is change? Yes, then peace is also within you. Peace is not here, there. Peace is not change of environment. Peace is not change of people. Peace is not change of situations. No. Peace is changing your thought process. As simple as that. Because in a particular situation, you say, I choose not to be angry. Simple. As simple as that. But is it really as simple as that? I am not going to be angry. No. Why? We've engineered this thought process in such a way that we've made it a habit, and a habit which is so strong that we don't even realize that. But now, if you really want to start changing, you'll have to do this inspection, sudden inspections on your mind as to what is going on.
How to control mind? Mind is giving per second 3 thoughts.
You take 7-day course, brother. You've already taken, take once more. Because if you take that once more, until you get the answer for that, keep taking the course. But just to answer this, I'll give you a very broad perspective. How many thoughts does an average person get in a day? 25 to 30 in a day.
24 hours, 60,000 thoughts are generated.
How?
Per second 3.
How does he know that? Is there any scientific proof? 60,000 thoughts. Why is it? Acha, the more the thoughts, the less the thoughts are better. What is good? Why? More money is good, more khana is good, more of everything is good. No, why more of thoughts is not good? For peace of mind. See, this is the problem. We give, it's like, this maths equation wherein we are saying LHS equal to RHS, but the proving mechanism is missing. The answer is correct. How? It's not there. Will we pass in the test? So my question to you is, why? Huh? Why, if you take more positive thoughts? I've had, participants saying this. If you have more positive thoughts, the better, no? Isn't it? Logical or not? Then? At a time, one thought. Does that happen? Or is there traffic jam? Practice. That's exactly what I'm saying. We all know LHS equal to RHS. What is the equation there? What is the, what you call the proof? How are you? Yes, the explanation proof. How is LHS equal to RHS? Yes, brother.
Its mind gets diverted into more and more things. So the fatigue is more and we are not.
I will reiterate what I said. You're talking about fatigue. I'm talking about the more positive thoughts, the better, no?
No, not. I'm not talking in terms of more positive.
So are you saying that you're only taking negative thoughts? That's why there's fatigue?
No, I'm not saying positive, negative. The more thoughts, and that's why when you do introspection, you start analyzing a focusing on a single thought rather than stuck in that highway of.
Wrong. Your proof is wrong. Your explanation of LHS equal to RHS is wrong.
No, I'm saying try the less thoughts is better.
Right. Right.
Very angry, you have less thoughts.
Sorry?
You're very angry, you have only one thought.
You think that you'll have only one thought, but that is not true, brother. You think that. Because you don't realize how many thoughts are going. You think that you only have one thought, which is wrong. So, when brother said 60,000, there is a scientific method of proving, just like you have the ECG to measure the heart rate, there is a machine called as EEG, which basically measures the brain activity. Electroencephalograph is what it is called. So scientists have done different experiments and then they've basically come to a conclusion that the average human beings in these days take about 60 to 65,000 thoughts in a day. When I took my course, sister mentioned it was 45 to 50,000. Now it has increased. Right? So we already know the answer that, the lesser the thoughts, the better it is. But I am going to give you the proof of why. So thoughts are basically categorized into 4 categories, right? Positive, negative, neutral, and the most dangerous category is waste. Okay? Now, people who've taken the course, please keep quiet. But what do you think is the percentage of positive, negative, neutral, and waste thoughts in an average human being? Acha, do you know what is the definition of a positive, negative, neutral, and a waste thought? What is the definition? What is a positive thought? Brother, please answer. What is a positive thought, brother?
Just gives you happiness.
Okay, what is negative? Destructive. Which building you are destroying, brother? What is neutral then? Doesn't harm anyone.
Daydreaming, or you can say, like wishful thinking, or you can say.
Absolutely, you got it. 100% wrong. No. No. What is a neutral thought? Yes, correct. Let's say you wake up, I have to brush my teeth. Neutral thought. I have to bathe. Neutral thought. I have to get ready to office. Neutral thought. Waste thought.
What will happen to you?
I keep giving this example. I'm standing at a bus stop. Positive thought, the bus will come, I will go. Negative thought, the bus will not come, I will not go. Cut. End of the story. Neutral thought, if the bus comes, I'll go. If it doesn't come, I'll not go. Waste thought, what happened to this driver? This idiot never comes on time. I don't know if I missed the bus or if I didn't take, if I'll be taking the bus. I don't know whether I'll reach on time or not. I don't know why does this fellow always do that. Okka thought ton both. With one thought, it has one laddi. 10,000 wala laddi it has. Right? Now, you tell me or you give the answer to yourself as to what are the percentage of positive, negative, neutral, and waste thoughts that you have. 75% waste. Who thinks they have 50% positive thoughts? Please raise your hands. Okay. Who else? There is one scapegoat who raised her hand. Who else is there? Who else is there? Anybody thinks they have 50% positive thoughts? Then for you, sister, the more the thoughts, the better it is, no? If you have 50% good thoughts. Okay, what is the percentage of negative thoughts? 99 negative, huh? Boy, then you're worse than Osama bin Laden, brother.
आजकल का यही माहौल ही हो गया वैसा.
माहौल नेगेटिव का नहीं हुआ, माहौल वेस्ट का हुआ. आप समझे? अगर अगेन सेम the example that I gave you, this fellow asks wife to get one glass of water. एक थॉट से हो सकता ना, तू पहले बोल सकता था ना, क्यों हर बार हर रोज ऐसे ही करते रहता, why are you behind my life? Either say I'll get it, either say I'll not get it, go get yourself. But no, there is one ladi. So we've become accustomed to basically thinking waste thoughts. So the percentage, it might be a real revelation to most of you, but waste thoughts is 96-97%. Everyone, sister, no exceptions. No exceptions, really. I'm not pointing out or picking on anybody, but in general, 96 or 97% waste thoughts, 1% or 1.5% neutral thoughts, 0.5% negative, 0.5% positive. That's the state of affairs. This is the proof of why LHS, which is more the thoughts, equal to RHS, which is they are not good. We don't know the explanation. Actually, a lot of us don't know what is the difference between a negative thought and a waste thought. We always get confused between a negative thought and a waste thought. But negative thought के बाल बच्चे नहीं होते हैं. Waste thoughts के बाल बच्चे होते हैं. I'll give you my example only. When I was studying at school, I hated studies. I'm not a studious guy. I studied in HPS, right? So whichever classroom, whichever standard I basically sat, I used to peep out of the windows, and there used to be these beautiful cricket grounds and hockey grounds and football grounds, and I really loved to peep out. And then when I'm going back home, I used to go in such a way that, I used to drag my bag, I used to drag my feet, like the weight of the entire world is on my shoulders. Why? What did I do? Like a coolie person, did I break a wall or did I, pick up some rocks? Nothing. Just sat in school. But I always felt that, oh my God, what is happening to me? Why is life so tough? In school, these are the thoughts that I get. Why is life so tough? Why can't they just let me play? Waste thoughts. There's something going on. Teachers, in my view, teachers blabbering something, let him or her blabber, but I am going to look out at the hockey fields and the cricket fields. Waste thoughts. What will happen? That will weigh you down. A lot of us, we come back from office. What do? Sit in AC, sit in front of the computer, tuck, 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 we do the whole day. But we come so tired, we start yelling at mother, brother, wife, whoever it is. And we say that, don't disturb me. And the next day or that same night, we sleep for 12 hours and then we wake up, we still feel, Abba, it's already 11 in the morning. Huh? Why? I've seen a lot of my friends, they sleep for 12 hours. When I go, I wake them up. I ask them, when did you sleep? 11 in the night. What is the time now? 1 in the afternoon. Why didn't you still break your sleep? Why didn't you still wake up? నువ్వు రాకపోతే ఇంకొక 2 hours వండుకుంటుండే. If you didn't come, और 2 घंटे सोता था मैं. That is the state of affairs. रहते हैं मैडम, रहते हैं ऐसे लोग. It really happens. Maybe for people who have not seen such people, it is very difficult to fathom this fact. But if you see people now, you'll think, how the hell does this happen? A proper person who's taking good thoughts or has cut down on his waste thoughts, 4 hours, 5 hours of sleep is more than enough. I've seen our administrative heads who are our dadis, who are 104 years. Janki Dadi, who was 104 years, she only used to sleep for 3 or 4 hours. Morning 3 o'clock, bang, wake up, start meditating. She was also named as the most stablest mind in the world. There were different tests that they were conducted. at Royal Albert Hall in London. So, like I said, this is all half-baked information because the complete information you'll get in the 7-day course. It's free of cost. All you have to do is talk to any sister and then fix up your time. And then, you'll get, when I ask you to take positive thoughts, the question might be, what is a positive thought? How can I take positive thoughts? So all those answers will basically be given in the 7-day course. So, if you really want your life to be peaceful and impactful in a positive way, why am I saying it has to be impactful is you're not only impacting yourself, but you're also impacting the people around you. And because you're impacting the people around you, it's ultimately impacting the society. How can the world change? You change yourself, that's enough. Don't bother about anything else. Okay, I think it's time. If you want to basically ask any questions, you can. Otherwise, let's call it a day. And let's not be soda water that you're all motivated over here and as soon as you step out of that door, पूरा gas चला गया and oh, what do I have to do now? बहुत अच्छा लगा सुनने में, बहुत अच्छा था. कर सकते क्या? नहीं कर सकते. Don't be that. Like I told you, don't give up. If you want to really go on that journey, be on that journey, have a lot of willpower because good things don't come easy. As simple as that. Any questions? Yes, sister. Right.
You were telling about this self-engineering or
Re-engineering, yeah.
so, Miss, what I know as per my religious background or something, so Krishna had this thing like he had his anger controlled for 99 times and then 100 times he burst it out. So does that mean he should not engineer his anger or self-engineer or what is that?
You should take the 7-day course. You should take the 7-day course. You will get the answer to this. Because if I start talking about that now, I need about 7 hours. Because I'll have to take the entire course. So, 1 day, 1 hour, no? 7 days का आपको बताना पड़ेगा तो 7 घंटे चाहिए. I am ready to sit till 4 in the morning and give you a lecture. Are you ready is the only question. You should take the 7-day course. It's a very, very good question. But it's not a simple answer that I can give it in one line and then say, you'll have to take the 7-day course for that. Any other questions? Yeah. If I can give you the answer, I'll give you the answer right now, else you will have to take the course. Right. No, see, it depends on the question. There can be one line or one paragraph answers, but some things, it's like, preparing a curry. You have to basically buy vegetables and cut vegetables and prepare the masalas and, that entire process has to be done. So that question is like a... Right, absolutely. Yes. Yes.
But somehow we don't want to take the traditional thing, to engineer ourselves.
That is completely upon you, brother. If you don't want to take it, then it's completely upon you.
No, sir, one real incident I want to narrate.
Yeah.
I was going in a car, dog came. I had to apply brakes suddenly. Fellow came and back from backside. So that fellow is simply said, it's your mistake. He went off. And same thing I did. For whatever reason, I went and hit. I had to. Okay.
You had to pay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're good, people will take advantage.
If you're happy with you paying and if you've maintained your peace, my point of view is it's worth it. Again, it's perspective. Is your peace important or is your money important? If you choose money, don't, your wish. But if you say peace, then I'd say yes. You give whatever few thousands or whatever you gave, it's worth it, is what I feel. Yes, brother. Who said? I mean, okay, it doesn't matter who said it, but here's my answer to that, and it's a one-line answer only. If it's you who want to be peaceful, then it is you who has to bend. You might not like the answer, but it is what it is. Who wants to be peaceful is what you'll have to ask yourself. If it is you who wants to be peaceful, if you want to basically value that relationship, then irrespective of whoever mistake it is, you bending down is not going to basically, आपका दर्जा कम नहीं होगा जिंदगी में. In fact, you're resolving the situation in a very, very peaceful manner, and you're not only solving your problem, but you're impacting the situation, you're impacting the other person, and because of you impacting the other person and the situation in a positive way, the environment will become positive. So इतने सारे benefits है उसके. ये डिफरेंट बात है कि कोई ईगो को चूज करते हैं और ये बोलते हैं कि मैं ही क्यों झुकूं. इट्स अगेन अ मैटर ऑफ पर्सपेक्टिव. बट यू वांटेड द आंसर, दिस इज द आंसर. इफ यू वैल्यू पीस, आपको झुकना है. झुको ना किधर भी, क्या दिक्कत है? किसी ने आपको आके ठोक दिया पीछे से, आप झुको ना, क्या प्रॉब्लम है? वो भी मत करो, डेंटेड गाड़ी चलाओ, बट यू शुड बी एट पीस इज व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू टेल यू. भाई साहब वो बहुत बड़े बातें हो गए. लाइक आई टोल्ड यू, एट ब्रह्म कुमारीज वी ओनली स्पीक अबाउट 3 things: I, me, myself. India, Pakistan is neither me, it is nor I, nor myself. So let's not go there. Let's try and change ourselves, because that is how we can impact the society. यहाँ पे वही बातें बताते हैं, I, me, myself. Solution पूरा ये 3 शब्दों में ही है. Yes, brother. Sure. 55,000 thoughts in a day. Yes. No. Because we've practiced it. And practice makes a man perfect. So what has happened is, over a period of time, we started taking more and more and more thoughts. If you remember what I mentioned that when I used to take my course, sister mentioned 45,000 thoughts. And now it has increased. That's because situations have changed, our patience levels have come down, the waste and negativity has basically increased. So, we've been practicing it. So, like I said, you'll have to re-engineer. You'll have to say, stop this. I'm not going to take this waste thought. So,
And when you say if we reduce it, I mean, is there any number which we want to reduce it to?
in an ideal world, you have these different yugas. You have Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga. So Satyuga is believed to be the most elevated yuga, wherein deities were walking this world, and they say that they only had between 3,000 and 5,000 thoughts in a day. So yeah, it's definitely possible. You should take the 7-day course as well. You'll get your answers, as simple as that. So I think it's time, and thank you so much for your patience. You've been a wonderful audience. It's been a pleasure talking to you all. Thank you. Om Shanti.